The Commission for the Blind held a special meeting July 17th, 2026 at 2 p.m. This is a recording of that meeting.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. This is the July 17th special meeting of the Oregon Commission for the Blind. It is 2:01 p.m. and this meeting is called to order. Max, would you please take roll?
Certainly. Dr. Labram is absent today, and Chair Nadira Broom is noted as present. Michael Babcock.
Present.
Laurel Hudson.
Present.
Stephanie McGarry.
Present.
Lacey Porter.
Present.
Scott Wall.
Present.
Madam Chair, we do have a quorum. The meeting could go forward. We've been joined by a telephone caller. I just want to check in. Whose number ends with 3151 so we can change your name on the meeting?
Hi, Max. This is Clay.
Oh, hey, Clay. Thanks very much. I'm going to change your name.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nadira. I'm done with my housekeeping.
Okay, thanks, Max. All right, so we'll proceed with the one agenda item today, which is the 2027 to 2029 agency request budget, and this is an action item. Daisha?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioners, thank you for holding this special meeting given the anticipated potential robust conversation. I'm not sure if we need that or not, but we wanted to make sure that there was adequate time in recognizing that the purpose and intent largely for the end of month meeting is to be able to celebrate the summer work experience program and recognize the students' achievements. And this just felt not given the somber nature of this action item, we just felt like it was important to separate that out. So we are just going to be focusing on the agency request budget for 2027-29. And as a reminder, if you will recall, based on the instructions that agencies received from the governor's office, the term agency request is somewhat of a misnomer in that we were challenged to put forth a budget without any additional general fund requests. So we were supposed to and challenged to put together a budget that was revenue neutral on the general fund side. So we have worked really diligently with the leadership team and trying to come up with a scenario that we felt was a balance that reflected the sentiment and the guidance that we've received from you all to date to really try to preserve and protect the integrity of the vocational rehabilitation program, particularly in the areas of technology and services to youth. So the memo that I shared with you a couple of days ago as a summary, the 27-29 agency request budget, which has the disclaimer is it's been submitted for audit, and so these are preliminary numbers. If there's something off in an account that needs to balance, CAP may need to adjust, and we anticipate that we would present to you as an informational item the final numbers at your end of July meeting. So federal funds amount is $23,105,311. General fund is $10,927,744, and other funds is $1,216,507. Total funds for the agency is $35,249,562. The position count is 61. And you will note, and we'll have a discussion in detail about that particular number. This agency request budget represents a 1.57 increase in federal funds, 11.56% increase in general fund, which is really just in essence the reflection of the cost of living adjustments made in the various categories, and a 5.2% increase in other funds. The agency full-time equivalent or position count would be reduced from 67 to 61, which is a 9% decrease in positions. And in essence, the agency is proposing to eliminate 6 vacant positions and shift funds from the savings from those positions that is in the personal services category to the budget category for client services or special payments. This would increase the agency's special payments budget by $1,583,017, with the objective that we would minimize the wait time that we're starting to experience for individuals who are entering the vocational rehabilitation program. And so I'll go through in detail. I'll stop there and see if there are any questions for folks with what I just read.
Stephanie.
Yes, Stephanie.
So you're saying, so 6 positions, those are empty positions right now? And those positions income would go into the budget to help lessen the wait time for patrons? Is that correct?
That is correct. Commissioner McGarry, we're actually holding those positions vacant because of our unprecedented increase in special payments currently.
Okay.
And so the budget as proposed would make those reductions permanently and then shift the funding associated with those positions to the category of client services or special payments.
Okay, but those are positions that are already vacant?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
So nobody would be losing employment?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Yes. And I have the stack of papers and my head is full of numbers and I may need Kat's help with it. The positions, I'm going to try to do it from memory. We have a vacant position in the Orientation and Career Center for the Blind in Portland. That position would not be filled in this scenario. We have a vacant position in the Business Enterprise Program. That position would not be filled. We have a vacancy as the administrative specialist positions that provide administrative support to all programs. That position's based in Portland. That one would not be filled. We have 2 teachers that are in essence older blind independent living teachers, one in Salem, the other one in Eugene. And then the final position that we would eliminate and not fill would be a position that just became vacant today, a vocational rehabilitation counselor position that's based in Salem.
Okay.
Any questions about that? There's some other elements to the budget that but I just want to make sure that folks understand the position part.
Daisha,
Yes, Michael.
this is Michael. Can I use names of staff or not? So I heard there's a retirement at the end of this month.
Yes.
Is that accounted for?
That is
And
not.
will that position
the
be filled?
retirement that we're anticipating is in the Eugene field office.
Yeah.
And that position we intend to fill when we have adequate revenue to do so.
Okay, I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
that was not impacted by these budget cuts because I feel there's important need for that as well.
Yes, yes. Thank you for that question. Right now, we have a significant revenue challenge for this current biennium that we're currently working with the Legislative Fiscal Office and the Chief Financial Office. And so that position we do not anticipate in the short-term filling until we're able to address the short-term revenue challenge, which is a separate opportunity for us to learn from that we're working on right now. Other questions about the positions?
Hey, this is Nilasi. Just
Yes,
a point of clarification. So that money left after or from those 6 positions, is that the salary plus all in that goes into that for 2 years for 6
Yes.
people?
yes. Very good
Okay.
question. It's also like there's like their portion of the costs for them, like vehicles, transportation costs, travel costs. There's some also incidental things that are budgeted based on positions as well.
Right.
So
Okay.
it would be total costs.
Okay. Thank you.
computers,
Clarification.
all of those things. All right, well, a little bit of some rationale of how we arrived at that is we built this based on a very modest increase in federal funds. If you will recall, our federal funds for the federal fiscal year 2026, which we're currently in now, we're in the kind of final stage of that federal year, has been in essence flat funded. So we've made some conservative assessments that we would likely, based on past history, be able to get some amount of those reallotment dollars, or when they redistribute the federal funds for states who are able to match those. But we have to be kind of conscientious about not overestimating that revenue source. So there's just a slight increase in federal funds. And so the rationale with, because we couldn't ask for a general fund, if we move forward into 27, 29, assuming that we're able to get through this biennium with the support of LFO and CFO, that would mean that if we did nothing and we went and filled those positions in 27, 29, we would be in the same exact position 2 years from now, where we had positions that we filled and our case service funds, were continuing to spend beyond what we had budgeted for, and we would be in the same position of either having to hold positions vacant or some other alternative. So we felt a responsible budgeting would be to take vacant positions and then redirect those resources to case service funds. One important caveat is that we had to balance, because we couldn't take, we're holding a few more positions vacant because of the budget uncertainty for this biennium, but we also have to have a certain number of staff to actually deliver services.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't take anything, or we're not recommending anything beyond the 9% to try to make sure that we have sufficient staff in order to be able to deliver services. From a technical standpoint, if you will recall, order selection, that federal wait list process for vocational rehabilitation, you can invoke that for lack of case service dollars and also lack of staff. So we need to make sure that we're prudent in balancing out the resources of both staff and case service dollars. Another important thing to point out is to recognize that you all helped guide us in making a difficult decision around what to prioritize, recognizing that without asking for additional resources, we had to make some incredibly difficult choices. Those choices largely represent the biggest, most significant impact in the 2 teacher positions for the Older Blind Independent Living program. And that will have some policy implications. Right now, we've been holding those positions vacant. But in essence, we will not be able to even kind of pretend that we're providing statewide services if we were down 2 additional teachers. And we're not required by federal law to do that because our federal award is so small. But that means that there are going to even have greater wait times for services, and folks will not get the level of services that we traditionally had been able to provide. That hurts my heart. That is not at all mean that we don't value and recognize the importance of the needs for the seniors. In a budget constrained environment, our rationale is there are some not specialized services and nothing replaces what we can provide, but there are other types of services that seniors can receive from alternate agencies. So even though it is not ideal, but there are, for example, if you can't safely administer your own medication, there are home health programs, right, that you can access and have folks come in and help you with those basic needs. Our philosophy and our desire would be to give folks the tools that they can do those independently. But in the essence of not having resources to do that, they can fall on other programs to be able to do that.
Stephanie,
Go ahead.
I know this is a hard decision, but we've talked about this in the past, that they're not barely getting any services at all. So
Yeah.
now it sounds like they're not going to be receiving anything.
Well, we will still have, and my brain is full of 100 things, so Paul would have to help me in terms of our head count. If we eliminate 2 field teachers,
Mhm.
we would have,
We have 6 ILOB instructors, one in Redmond, one in Medford, one in Salem that's helping to cover the Eugene office, and then
Okay.
3 in Portland.
thank you, Paul.
Okay.
It is not ideal, Commissioner McGarry. I recognize that.
No, that's why I said I know this is a hard decision. I recognize that.
Yes. Other thoughts or comments? There's some other items that will also be included in the agency request budget, but this is really obviously the heart of the matter.
Daisha, can I ask another question? Sorry.
Of course.
So when you put this out, I read it a couple times just to make sure that I was
Yes.
understanding, and this has been hard. So doing this, taking away these 2 teachers for the elder blind Oregonians, the time frame for vocational rehab, what is that gonna look like for people? So I'm trying to
that's a
overweigh the
great-
other thing, if that makes sense, that I'm asking.
It does make sense. So it's not entirely certain. So here's the piece that this we have right now. We're projecting for the current biennium, Stephanie, about a $3 million overspend in special payments or services to clients out the door.
Okay.
So if you think about it, if all things being equal, us shifting these resources fills about half of that bucket.
Okay.
So it does not eliminate the wait list, but it reduces the wait list. It's better than nothing, but it certainly in no means fixes the problem, but it doesn't exacerbate the problem into the next biennium, if that makes sense. It does help move it in the right direction.
Yeah, thank you. That does clarify it for me.
Other questions? All right, you can ask questions again. I also wanted to just go over one of the things in lieu of being able to ask for additional general fund is the technical policy package, which gets built into the budget system itself. The governor's office and the chief financial office said to agencies that you can build in what they called pipeline packages that are not fully robust and costed out ideas in the form of a policy package, but in the situation where they may have additional general fund to be able to invest in agencies, what the agency would ask for. So we listed those as pipeline investments. And the first one, none of these will be a surprise to you. The first one is to finalize the work that the agency's been chipping away at, where we have a technical budget issue with how administrative positions are budgeted versus how we need to pay them. And that fix would require a general fund investment. That is a federal compliance issue. We highlighted it in part because the Trump administration, the current administration federally, has placed a greater emphasis on compliance and monitoring states, particularly states on the West Coast. So we are extra intentional about making sure that we're focusing on compliance issues during this time. And this is one of those things that has been a perennial challenge for us as an agency that but it has been partially addressed, but not quite fully done yet. The next one is in direct alignment with what we've been talking about in the strategic priority that you identified, which is working in Oregon, which is basically to backfill and to to right size the budgeted amount for special payments with the cost for delivering services today. In essence, it would fill the bucket up to that $3 million amount, Stephanie, with the goal of eliminating the wait list altogether. And so that is our ask, is that we get sufficient resources to do that. One of the things that as we were reflecting on these pipeline investments, that outside of the typical cost of living that you can build into the budget for special payments, there has been no meaningful investment in special payments directly, services out the door to clients, in more than 25 years for the agency. So it is not a big surprise if you think about it that way, that we're kind of in this position with the cost of doing business and the amount of demand on the program just outstripping our budgeted amount in that category. So that is on the top of our wish list. And then the last one is around the other one of the other strategic priority around meeting the needs of Oregon's aging population, which would also what we're hoping is it would obviously reverse the reductions that we took in the staffing capacity. So fill back up the staffing bucket. And then with some potential of expanding the program beyond our current staffing level that we have in this biennium. So as we know, the older blind population is growing. Oregon's population in general is aging. And so this is not something that is going to go away, and it's just going to continue to be a greater need for the agency. So those three items are on our wish list, and in budget environments where we were able to have more autonomy in delivering policy option packages for consideration, they would have been incorporated in the technical budget build, but we are in kind of a different type of economic climate, and there are major holes that have been left in Oregon's budget with some federal policy changes. And so we're just really not in a condition or a situation where we can anticipate much growth. My hope is that we would get some of these restored if the economic conditions were different. But we have to be able to present a budget that the agency can expect to live with, if that makes sense. And I hope that you can see that we were super intentional and very thoughtful about the feedback and priorities that you provided to us, and struck a balance with kind of preserving the expertise that we currently have, but also prioritizing the direct services that we need to be providing to Oregonians who are blind. Other questions, thoughts before I ask someone to call the question? Now you know why my hair's turning more gray.
I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot today, Daisha, but
No, that's okay. This is why we called this meeting, Stephanie.
Okay, awesome. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you for your special thought, because like I said, when I first read this, I'm just going to be transparent. I did not like it. But I do really appreciate your thoughtful intent, and explaining has helped me to understand it a lot better. So I do appreciate that. And I do understand, and hopefully all of the other commissioners do, that we're kind of in a hard place and that we just have to make some changes no matter if we like them or not. So thank you for making these hard suggestions to us.
You're welcome. Other thoughts or questions?
So Daisha, sorry, this is Nadira. with the special payments. So there was in your email, there was a statement that the funding does not reflect or match how much those costs have risen to. So I guess my question would be, is this is going to continue to be an issue until it does match the cost? Because the money that's being saved now is just half of that, essentially, right? 1.5 million.
Yes, that's a great question, Madam Chair. You're right. It doesn't fix the problem at all. We are not anticipating that we would exit the order of selection next biennium. One of the things we're working on, obviously, the budget includes, performance data and lots of other things that you get in various forms throughout the year. But the number of individuals that have been served, total served, including students with disabilities from the vocational rehabilitation program, went up, and I'm not going to have the number. It's gone up significantly in the last couple of years. It's the combination of everything costs more, which we've all experienced in our own personal lives. Which is further complicated by we have more folks actually coming through the door, in part because of the pre-employment transition services, which intentionally does those early intervention services, meaning that Congress wants us to serve more folks earlier in their high school careers to help them get on the right path. But also we're seeing more adults coming to us, and more adults who have multiple needs, not just blindness, but other types of barriers related to employment, which means that their costs and needs are also higher by the nature of their barriers to employment. So lots of things kind of factoring in there. Okay. To me,
Daisha?
oh, go ahead, Stephanie.
So when you're talking about extra costs, so people who have more than just blindness, are you talking like job coaches, job developers, all of that has to be paid as well?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
And I
job
anticipate
retention
this
services has been a big part of our growing costs.
Yeah.
It's folks that we need to provide extra supports on the job and trying to figure out, what that looks like and help them maintain employment before they exit services. That's been a particular increase in the cost area for us.
Yeah,
But I
that's
would
what
imagine the equipment as well. The cost of
Yes.
equipment has gone up too.
Everything costs more, as we all know.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, if you would like, I can pull up some of my supporting schedules around costs and give you an idea on what the most expensive categories have been historically.
Yes, thank
Yes,
you, Kat.
yes, please.
Yes.
Okay. Give me a moment and I'll look for that right now.
Thank you.
Other thoughts while Kat's looking up that data for us?
I just had a thought, Daisha. Are they?
Yes.
Well, just because that's how I found NFB. Are they being encouraged to apply for more scholarships? Because there's money out there.
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the things that is built into the vocational rehabilitation program is it is in essence supposed to be like the last dollar that you're required to provide evidence that you've sought out comparable benefits and resources. And so we try to be diligent about that. That really happens naturally in the order of selection process because as folks are waiting, and right now, and during your regular meeting, we'll give you that order of selection update. Folks who are waiting for services is everyone who's applying who isn't at risk of losing a job is being placed on that wait list.
Right.
So what we're offering individuals who are waiting is information referral services, trying to get them some path to start out on while they're waiting for the specialized services that they can only get from OCB.
Gotcha.
Other questions or comments?
Daisha, this is Michael. I remember a couple of years ago, we talked about wanting to get more clients in the door, and now it seems like that might be a
Isn't that funny?
yes.
Yes. Well, post pandemic, most states in the country, and everyone's kind of in a getting to either the same place we're at or close to that. We were sitting on a bunch of money because services really slowed down to a lot of virtual programming that did not cost as much. And that is not the case anymore. Yeah. So I think when referrals slowed down and services slowed down, we all were like ready to get back to work and serve people. And once things opened up, boy, did they. Which there is, and what I was going to say earlier was, to me, from a public policy perspective, the fact that Oregonians who are blind want to go to work and want to have services as they're in high school and trying to plan out their path towards adulthood, those are all incredibly great things from a public policy perspective. We just haven't kept up with the funding of those changes in terms of people's expectations that they believe that they can go back to work. There is, in my opinion, so many good things about that. But we just have to keep up with financing those dreams and desires to go back to work.
Yeah.
Disha, I have a question.
Yes, Lacey.
Semi-related, but just because Kat's looking for something. So how does the agency handle situations where there's a remote worker that lives out of state but is working for works in Oregon?
Oh, that's a great question.
How does that work, or how does that handled?
Yeah, so they would, the federal law does not have a residency requirement, but you have to be present in the state. And typically most state agencies have interpreted present in the state as, have an address. So if somebody lived in Idaho and worked in Oregon, they would be served by the Idaho agency.
Okay.
Yeah, great question. As you go into order selection, you'll have some border state folks, ask about those types of things for obvious reasons. If there's a wait list in one state, there's not in another. And kind of the rationale behind that is, if you think about it, the state does contribute a little over 20% of the resources to match that federal award. So, that there is some logic that the state would want to fund services to citizens in their state.
So Desha, I have a question. I've been hearing more and more about, well, because of the current economic conditions, older people having to come back out into the workplace. Has there been any uptick in that, or do you anticipate any uptick in that from OCB's point of view with clients?
We have
Older
always
clients?
had all kinds of folks come back into adulthood. We could look at that, Nadira, and come back with you with the data.
Okay.
Angel might have some anecdotal information, but we could certainly look to see if there's any change in that. Angel, do you have any data off the top of your head?
I don't have data, but to your point, anecdotal, we definitely have over, the past several years seen more and more individuals who are older. In fact, a good portion of our population that we serve anyway are older individuals. But yeah, it is interesting to see the number of people that not all of them want full-time jobs, but some of them are doing it for just needing the income, and some more for the engagement of work. But definitely the older population is a big part of the populations that we serve as well. So yeah, you're absolutely right, Nadira.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Almost there, y'all. I realized I have to calculate this if I'm going to give you this on
I
a
could tell
percentage basis.
she had her 10 key
Thank you,
flying around.
Kat.
You're tapping away. So I found the analysis I wanted, which has expenditures by agency object code. That's how I think about the different categories of special pay that we're providing, like job coaching, equipment, things like that. But I didn't have it calculated on a year-over-year basis and by percentage, but I'll have that for you in about 2 more minutes.
Thank you, Kat.
Thank you so
Of
much.
course.
I think I speak for us all, Kat, when we say, or I say, how great you are at what you do, so we can afford you some grace this one time.
Thank you.
Just this
Yes.
once, so it sounds like that.
I like that.
Feel
Very
pressure
sweet of you.
next time.
That's very sweet.
Well, Kat, next time that might not happen.
I know, right? Her
All I
palms
can
are
say is
sweaty.
best of luck to you, Daisha, in training somebody else up for this job.
Exactly.
No, thank you.
That's what they told me when they hired me. Nobody wants this job. I was like, oh, great.
I can see why. Just listening to it just it makes my head want to explode. So calculating, yeah, wow.
Commissioners, just for your edification, staff are understandably very worried about the budget stuff. And so out of transparency, we are having a meeting at 3:30 today to basically relay whatever action results from this meeting. And so we are being sensitive to the fact that staff are chomping at the bit to get this information. But as our policy board, we brought it to you first for your action, and then we'll relay the information on to staff.
Well, Daisha, that's why I'm glad to hear that it's open positions and not staff losing positions.
Yes. Yes.
So that's somewhat of a win.
It is. It is. It's somewhat of a hard, it's still recognizing that the vacancies we're so small, we feel every vacancy, right? In terms of we feel the shortage. So it's still, it's not going to be good news because staff have been waiting, recognizing the challenges we're having with this biennium, waiting when we might be able to fill positions and to know that some of them will never potentially. It's not going to be great news.
No.
Okay, I think I'm ready here. On a year-over-year basis, and this is an analysis that is somewhat dated at this point because it was one I completed while we were working to get ourselves into order of selection. So this is based on state fiscal year 24 and state fiscal year 25. It doesn't include the current state fiscal year we're in, which is 2026. But on a year-over-year basis in the special pay category, in a single year of the biennium, our increase was 33%. That's $1.7 million. And the categories that we saw significant jumps in were, bear with me now because I don't have conditional formatting on this, so I just kind of got to go down the list on my own. On the job training, job placement assistance, technology purchases on behalf of clients. So that's computers, JAWS, things like that. Interpreter services, disability related skills training, pre-ETS work-based learning experiences, and transportation.
Did any of those surprise anyone?
Well, what is the disability one that you said, Kat? What is that relating to?
Yeah, I would need to defer to Angel on what exactly these services are. This is how we capture them in the accounting buckets, but actually what that service is behind it, we would need Angel's insights.
Yeah, I can definitely give some insight into that. So it would be things like technology training that might happen outside of what agency staff can do, independent living kinds of training, anything that is basically not able to be handled by internal staff. That is a area of specialty, perhaps. And then the first couple of buckets, just to draw a straight line, those are, as you might imagine, job development and job coaching. And then the pre-ETs would be, very much the same. It would be job development and coaching for our pre-employment transition students, which a big portion of that happens during the summer for SWEP.
And then the transportation one, is that what, paying for transportation for people to go to work?
Yes, yes.
I'm guessing it's bus passes.
Bus passes,
those
cab
kinds of
rides.
Yeah.
For people that are in the process. Yep. Of stabilizing their own income so they can pay for that.
And one of our wish lists is another disability related service would be like mental health counseling. There is a significant backlog of community mental health services. And so, we have clients that have mental health related barriers. So there are times when it's appropriate for us to find services related to that so they can be able to address those barriers to be able to focus on, all of the other things that are needed to go back to work.
Okay,
There's a
so
lot going on in people's lives right now.
yeah. So with the interpreter services, I guess I am a little surprised that it was in the top. Yeah, so you just provide interpreter services throughout the program?
Yeah, so Nadira, that great question. And we have seen an increase, which is great, in the number of people that are coming to us without the ability, currently, as they're engaging with us, to be able to speak the languages of our, like, for example, our instructors or our counselors. And so, which is a great problem to have, because that means we're engaging with diverse populations, which we want to be doing. More and more of that. It's just, and you can see it if you come to any of our end of term lunches, for example. There's interpreters almost always happening at those end of term lunches. And if you came to the training center on any given day, there are multiple languages that are getting spoken by folks that are actively engaged in our training. So
orientation.
Yeah, and orientation too. Yeah, thanks, Jim.
In the older blind population too, we're seeing more and more translators necessary.
What about for blind deaf? Are you having us that as well for the interpretation?
Yes. Yes, 100%. We definitely have more of that going on as well. So that would be part of that that fee, and all of those, especially sign language is a highly skilled area that it does have a price point.
Yeah.
And I
Great
presume
questions.
this is
Very
Michael.
thoughtful questions. Michael, go ahead.
I
I'm
presume
sorry.
when we can, we are using or working with blind interpreters as well.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
We do. Yeah. Thank you.
Great question. Well, if there are no other questions, I'll turn it back over to you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, Kat. And Angel and all. All right, so we're looking for a motion to adopt this agency request budget, correct?
Correct.
Okay, correct. All right, commissioners. So said, looking for a motion to adopt the agency request budget.
I motion to adopt it.
Thank you, Stephanie. Looking for a second?
This is Scott. I'll second it.
Thank you, Scott. All right, Max.
Max, you're muted.
Please answer yes or no when your name is called. Nadira Broom,
Yes.
Michael Babcock, Michael Babcock,
Yes.
Laurel Hudson,
Yes.
Stephanie McGarry,
Yes.
Lacey Porter,
Yes.
Scott Wall.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, commissioners, and thank you, everyone, for taking the time to come out today. Daisha, I assume anyone can call you with any additional
Absolutely.
questions you may have. Yeah.
Anytime. And we
Yeah.
will do an information item on your July 31st meeting as well. So if
Right.
you have any other questions, you can certainly ask them there.
Great.
Okay. All right, well, there being no further business, it is now 2:47 p.m. and this meeting is adjourned.